But you never know when the computer's lying to you. You don't know. February the 4th. Make sure we're live over on the internet. Heather Parody here filling in for the wonderful Glenn Lundy as he is off changing the world the way that he does, speaking on stages, changing lives. Did y'all see that room he was in yesterday? Standing room only. But we're not surprised because we've been gathering here for years, to hear that man speak and get the day started off right. I got a quote for you. I got a quote. If y'all are here, drop in the chat. Let me know that you are alive, you're awake, you're ready to start February the 4th, 2026 on the right foot. Let's go with the quote. Boop, boop, boop. It is not the critic. That happens in your Southern. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how strong the man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man or the woman, let's put that up there, who is actually, and that quote cuts off right there because it's the person who is actually what? The person who's criticizing, the person who's pointing out the flaws, the person who's commenting, not posting themselves, or the person who is what? We're about to talk about that.
Good morning and welcome to the #1 morning show in America. I am your host, Glenn Lundy, husband to 1, father to 9, author, speaker, and the founder of 800%.life. It's 5:30 a.m. and it's time to rise and grind.
This is people. One of my favorite humans right here. Dr. Brandie Keates is with us this morning. First time in the Rise and Grind room. Have you ever been live on the internet at 5:30 in the morning?
No, but that was such a hype entrance that I want to get up and dance, but I'm wearing my pajama bottoms.
Yo, you can do it. We don't mind here. How many of y'all are in your pajama bottoms? I need you to drop in the comment, pajama bottoms. Let's all be honest here. When I asked you to come on this show, I said, it's early. I told her, I said, this is early. And her first response was, that's not early. You said that. I was like, dang, okay. What time do you normally get up, Dr. Brandie?
4, yeah, 4.
Why? 4 o'clock in the morning. Why?
Because I have raging ADD, and the only time I could work, and I started doing that when my business got really big, and so I needed to be quiet. So I just needed a quiet time where I could reinvent myself and create creative space because my whole day was a blur. So I'd play some hype 80s music. Shout out to SWV and New Edition, and just like blast Bobby Brown at 4 in the morning, and that's where I got my best work done. It was like one of my favorite parts of the day because it was mine.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Listen, y'all, if you're new around here and you're like, who's this Southern girl? I'm Heather Parody filling in for Glenn Lundy. This is the Rise and Grind morning show where every morning, Monday through Friday, we get together, start our day off with intention. Good morning, Patricia, Kat, Greg, Rodney, Youngin, Keto, Melvin, Alexandria. I've been loving your posts lately. Denny, good to see you guys. If you'll do me a favor and drop in the comment box to tag somebody who's not in this room and get them on over here, share it out to the communities and the groups and so forth. Patricia, thank you for dropping the full quote in the chat box. Riverside was like, this is too many words. But we're about to dig into that in a minute. But first, I wanted to really give you guys some insight of how incredible this woman is who is sitting right here with me. She is a content creator. Fun content creator. She is also the owner of Bloom Sanctuary. She has her own practice. She's an advocate for women who are struggling with pregnancy pain. She's a speaker, an author, an educator, an interviewer. I'm keep going, Dr. Brandie. I'm just going to keep going and keep rolling because you do all the things. You do all the things. She is, I would say, through and through, a safe place for people who need to be seen and cared for. She does that through her practice. And on the flip side of that, she's also a warrior and an advocate for people who are in systems that are that are exploiting and hurting and harming folks. So I just think the world of you. Professionally, tell people what you do because I'm all into my feels. I see what you do from like a spiritual level, but tactically, tell the folks what you've been up to for the past 20 plus years.
I started as a medic, and so like that fed my like excitement, ADD, as I said, role. But I really stumbled into chiropractic. I really am like the least likely person to be a chiropractor. I hate the popping and the cracking. But
Yeah.
my daughter had an injury, and I really wanted to help people. And because I had a different way of approaching chiropractic, because I'm not a chiropractor, like I wasn't a chiropractor, and it just kept unfolding. Life just kept unfolding. So in 2006, I almost lost my youngest daughter practicing, and I was the main breadwinner. And what I realized was that women are really, I was a doctor and I couldn't pay my mortgage or my groceries. And as having a second baby, it's the last thing you want to do is hurt your kid.
Mm-hmm.
So it really led me, my kids led me to a career
Mm-hmm.
and a truth about myself. And I really was inspired by my kids for the last couple of years. And then over the last years, I built a huge practice in Pennsylvania. It was one of the biggest women-owned practices. I had 2 locations, 7 doctors, 22 employees, and it
Let's
nearly
go.
broke me. But like I did it, got the
Yeah.
T-shirt,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it was empty at the top. So it just was really the last couple of years, and then you have to hide it because you created this beautiful thing and you have to hide that you're not grateful. It's sort of like pregnancy with women, where they get pregnant, they finally get pregnant, and other people can't get pregnant. So it's a very
Mm-hmm.
sensitive topic. And
Yep.
when you get there and it's not what you think it is, it's mind screwing. So it's just the biggest lesson for me over the last couple of years is realizing I create a safe space for everybody around me, and that wasn't the case for me. And the big lesson was in that of realizing that I had value too. I mean, people
Yeah.
look at me, oh, you have value in your life. I didn't value. The reason I got there was a lot of trauma and a lot of belief systems that got me to be successful, to prove my worth or prove I'm smart or whatever. But over the last couple of years is undoing all of that. And it
Mm-hmm.
did a real gut check of change, and being okay with change. And the biggest thing was people around me not being okay with change. So that always,
Ooh, talk about that. People not around you being okay with the change. Because the folks in this group, we're always evolving, we're always growing, we're hopefully always changing. It's not a ever an arrival date. So as like we're constantly evolving and reinventing ourselves, sometimes it's been my experience, and we'll kick it to you in a second, but the people the closest to you, that can be like sometimes the hardest because they either don't understand, they don't support, sometimes they just ghost you, don't want to, just ignore their own evolution and process. So talk to me a little bit about that because I think that is, we don't talk about that part enough.
yeah. So like the biggest place where that started to happen is I unexpectedly became the president of my ambulance in town,
Mhm.
and there was a big controversy. There's a big scandal, and up until that point, everybody was my friend. So I thought, like everybody is friendly. I couldn't offend anybody. I could talk my way out of anything, and not in a weird way. I could always come to a level with somebody where I could talk to them. Do you know what I'm saying? I could
Mhm.
rationalize with them, but it got to the point where people didn't know me, and there was physical threats of harm to me and my family, which is so
Dang.
foreign. And I had to disappoint people that were like, "You're going to cover for me, right?" Like these are friends of mine. You're going to cover for me, right? And I had to go against because the reason that one of my tenets is I always do the right thing. I always try to do the right thing in my mind. That's very,
Mhm.
because everybody has a different way. My kids always joke that John Quixote show of like, what would you do? Where like somebody does something bad in a restaurant. I'm the person that would get up and be like, cut it out. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not a controversial person, but
I know
like,
that about you.
I'm very passionate about, I'm very protective of those I love or people that are oppressed. But it started to be where when I couldn't perform at the level that I was, it really showed people, or when I could perform, if I put somebody into a job, say I put a friend, I've had this happen a number of times where I give a friend an opportunity and then somebody takes the power to their head because I build them up, build them up, build them up, and then they just take that for granted and treat
Mhm.
me like shit. And it was very confusing because I thought, what did I do wrong to deserve this or whatever? But after 2021, I kicked my husband out of the house. We had been married for 26 years. I had taken care of literally everything. He's not a bad person. I took care of literally everything, making me sort of like I don't know. It just was consuming. There was no reciprocalness of it. And it was very cold for me. So for other people, he was a great person. For me, he was not that great. So when I had to say, hey, I'm getting divorced, everybody was shocked. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, oh, he's a good person. He's a nice person. I'm like, I understand, but you don't know what's behind the scenes. Like I'm in the arena and you don't know what's going on. And as time went on, people realized, what it was, but getting divorced or selling my practice or dating, like for a lot of people had problems with me dating. Like people had a lot of opinions about like, you're a badass, you don't need a guy, or like, and then I got married and people are like, it's amazing to me. And I think that's what kept me small for so long online, because you think it's going to feel good. Like you worked with me last year
Mm-hmm.
and you confronted me in the nicest way because you're Southern and my mom was Southern. Hence my name is Brandie and I'm the only Brandie on the East Coast. But you said to me, like, you want to be out there, but I was terrified of disappointing people or
Yep.
upsetting them or saying the wrong thing. Because I'm in a space that I'm creating. It's like they have red ocean, blue ocean. Like this is a new concept of advocating and making sure women are taken care of and
Yep.
doing something different. So I don't want to be different. Like a lot of people say, oh, you're different. I was born different, right? And I've always known I'm different, but I didn't want anybody else to know I'm different. So when I'm perceived that I'm not agreeable to everybody, I'm palatable to everybody. That's where people that I'm realizing at 52 are not aligned for my best self. And that doesn't mean being selfish, but I always thought it would feel good. Like I thought like boundaries would feel good. They feel freaking horrible sometimes. And growing up, I wasn't allowed to have the choice. Like I was really groomed to be the oldest child, that you do everything right and you don't make anybody upset. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So like
Mm-hmm.
that keeps you so small. And I've started
Yes.
to really vibe with the analogy of like a coat. So like you can have this beautiful, like you're wearing this, I love your broken in, like we're both wearing our pajamas, but that like cover
Yes,
up. And it's
ma'am.
like the most comfortable thing, right? But
Right.
in 5 years, it may not be comfortable to you anymore. Are you supposed to just keep wearing that coat because it has a big
Right.
hole in it? Because other people are like, man, that coat is that's your,
Right.
you have to be able to judge what's good for you. And as long as it's like, I'm not religious at all, but my parents or my mom used to send me to like Bible camp. And they would say, God is always for you. Like what's for you will be for you. And
Right.
I'm starting to realize that you can't force stuff like that. The people, things, and all of that, if you're doing your highest good and your intention
Mm-hmm.
is pure, it's going to be a difficult life. Like that's the part I don't think that they warned you, but
Yep.
it's people that are meant to be in your life stick with you. And
Amen to
I would
that.
say the last 2 years, I've been stripped of everything of my life, literally stripped of everything. I had it all, and I've had it all stripped away. And now what I have is people that are truly in it for me. People
Yep.
that don't steal my batteries, don't need anything from me, because before I thought all the people were for me. So it's just been a mind screw a little bit, but I feel more powerful than I have in my entire life. And you've seen it online where
Yep.
I could go up in snow and not
Yep.
wear makeup. Or yesterday I was talking to a woman about infant loss or pregnancy loss. And I love what she was saying. And I threw her on my podcast. I said, can we do this right now? My office was a mess before. Everything had to be perfect and everything had to be, I don't care anymore because I know my circle. I know
Mm-hmm.
you. I know myself. I'm going to be okay. And
Yep.
if you're not okay with me, then you're
Yep.
not aligned with me of being a human being and having a human experience. So I think that's the change. But it took me getting stripped of everything and having people in my life that this year was the hardest year. A lot of people said 2025 was like being awake during anesthesia. And for
Mm-hmm.
me it was because I came out of that divorce and I was like, I'm free. And then you start to unravel your life, and then people start to tell you how your life is supposed to be set up, or how, you're supposed to stick to things that don't serve you, like that jacket. Like if it doesn't serve you anymore, they almost want you to keep doing it because it serves them.
Yep.
When you don't do what they want, they treat you like absolute dog shit. They really do. Like I can't even like and it's I started to wake up where like I matter too. Like you've been posting a lot online
Mm-hmm.
about having the right to say what you think. And
Right.
it's hard for us to do that
It's
because you don't want
hard.
to piss anybody off. But like at some point you have to stand up and say, my opinion matters too. It might not be right, but I have
Right.
a right to have an opinion. I have a right to feel a certain way. And people that post online behind their keyboards or leave you messages, like screw them because like they don't have the balls to get up and say that. And I
Right.
think that's
Right.
the part of the problem is people are so it's like say that to my face. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
They
Like,
won't. And the thing is this goes back to their arena piece, like it's so important for us to look at the fruit of other people's lives and say like, are they in the arena too? Are they doing the work? Is this the kind of feedback that I'm going to be getting? But I want to go back to what you said about not caring anymore. It took you kind of getting into losing everything or getting kind of in a really dark place. And I was thinking about in Think and Grow Rich, if you guys have read Napoleon Hill, he talks about the other self. And I'm putting words in his mouth, but it's this idea that whenever you kind of get to the really hard bottom of something, there's this other self that emerges that you didn't know was there, but was always there. And it's like you meet your other self. And I think that's what you're talking about. Like when we reinvent ourselves, it's usually after something that's really difficult or something that we don't know if we can come back from. But the crazy part is that reinvention actually emerges another heightened level of you that you didn't know was there. And it's such a gift. And I wanted to ask you if somebody was listening and feels stuck, what is a sign that it's time to reinvent yourself?
well, that's a good question. It just there's this uneasiness in yourself. I think I really didn't like myself before. I really didn't. And I was working with a therapist in 2021 and she said that I had this chessboard. Like I'm a very transparent and honest person, but I cared so much about my brand and how I not even it's not even being fake like oh I have trips or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that my life
Yeah.
is happy because I'm a happy person. And she said you had this chessboard and what you were putting out, like most of us do on Facebook, was just all happy. Do you know what I'm saying? And it has to look good and it has to have feeling and all this stuff. And I didn't feel good with it. I had two houses. I had a Range Rover, which was my like I had everything that I had it, right?
Yeah.
But I was unhappy and it wasn't being ungrateful for it. It didn't fit. Like people would be like, oh, Dr. Brandie. And after I got divorced, I'd have guys call me Dr. Brandie who were dating me. And that's when I started to realize like this persona was all I had. That's all
Mm,
because all I did was work. So when this therapist said, I want you to make a list of stuff that feeds your batteries and stuff that drains your batteries. I had two things on my list that fed my batteries at this point. Not even my kids, not my spouse, but I had this huge list of board positions and roles that I did on the left side that drained my batteries. And I had Barnes and Noble and Walton Gardens.
let's go.
Weird. But like that's the only joy I had in my life because it was confusing because my work was joy. Being in a patient room was joy for me. HR
Mm,
was absolute hell for me. Like the bad side of
yeah.
HR. So it was reconstructing where I was like, okay, she said take five things right now off that. So I resigned from four boards. And I sent the emails out and I'm like, oh my God. Like you're sitting there like they're gonna hate me. I
Yeah.
wasn't I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I didn't want to do it anymore. I did it. I got the t-shirt. I hit the level. Because for me, it was like, that's professional success.
Yep.
It was not aligned anymore with who I was. So people think that you should be responsible. Marilyn Waller, who's with Strategic Coach, she talks about responsibility for and to. And if you feel what it usually is, you don't have to reinvent yourself. You have to stop being responsible for people's feelings, people's karma, and stop the being the spotlight crew where you're cleaning stuff up in front of people so that they don't face their own what they're doing. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me is staying in my lane with just doing good with the world, feeling it for myself whether stuff fits. My nervous system is huge. Like I'm not a woo-woo chiropractor, like a traditional
Yeah.
chiropractor. I'm not putting that down. I could never vibe with that. But for me, a good litmus test, and I know I'm going in circles, a good litmus test for me is when you're in front of somebody. So like a strategic assistant. I had 3 strategic assistants when I had 2 offices. If I'm in front of you and I start apologizing for how I am and I don't feel good and I feel anxious in front of you, it's probably because you're not the right fit for me. And it's not that you're a bad person, but if I can't be myself in front of you, like my true self in front of you, then it's exhausting. I have to put up all this stuff and it drains my batteries. So for me, when you are just in situations with people that should be safe, the biggest thing, and I don't want to expose my relationship with my kid, my oldest had such a hard time after my divorce. And I didn't expect that, where we almost stopped talking. We've had stopped talking at points, and the relationship became extremely strained because she didn't know who I was, because she had never met me as a teenager or early 20s before I met her dad. And I was happy again. And my hair is normally black. I like reinvented myself physically. And I tried on those jackets. Like, does this fit? Do I feel
Yeah.
good with this? So in the end, me being happy or me being in an affectionate relationship or me, like the good things in life were so foreign to her. She expected me to be a badass, like to play this role.
Right.
And I couldn't do it for her. And I had to have my parents say, your mom was always interested in sports. Your mom was always interested in this. So I had to explain myself, and I shouldn't have had to explain myself. But I was finally aligned with being the real me. I kept saying to her, I feel more real with myself and with my partner than I've ever felt. It took me doing it by myself for a year, and it was suffocating to really work on myself. It was a very dark time. But when I came out, I realized I had myself and I matter too in stuff. So if you're in a place where you feel stuck, it's usually because you're trying to be something else to more people around you and you're not able to be yourself because
Right.
of other people's expectations and it hurts. It hurt. There's things I've done recently that have hurt other people that I cared about, but their actions have shown me that I had no value to them after years. And that's a mind screw because there was nothing I was doing that was hurting that person, but they needed me. They needed me to play a role. They needed me to do something, and they weren't out for what would work for me that was win-win. So the whole relationship broke because there was no give on my side and that's a good test too. If you are all lose on a situation and the person can't see any value or that you deserve anything, that's not a situation I want to be in anymore. I think if you really care about somebody, you should want what's best for them.
Right.
So I
Right.
think it's a good test.
So, y'all, what we're talking about here, Rodney says, I love your vulnerability and honesty. Robin says, yes. Gerald says, this was so good. If I can't be myself around you, then maybe I shouldn't be around you. Alexandria says, same. What I'm pulling from this, y'all, is just return back to your heart and sinking into your body and listening to your intuition, the still small voice, however you want to explain it, and really paying attention to your reaction to things, whether it's a person or a situation you're in, and trusting that. Because right now, especially in our Western society that is all about the hustle and the grind and go, 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 which is awesome because it can give you a grit and an element where you can kick ass and just do what you need to do. There's another element of that too, where sometimes we stop listening to what's trying to be said through us or our intuition, and we end up in situations that aren't the best for us or we've outgrown. And there's a higher level sometimes we're being called to, but we're stuck doing the same things we did. I think it's worth relooking at. So I'm so glad you brought that. I have a final little question for you. I'm trying to see what time it is. Oh my gosh, this has gone by so fast. It's gone by so fast. What did you have to unlearn to become the best version of yourself? What did you personally have to unlearn in order to be this version of you?
Hating myself to be palatable to others. I'm done. I'm done. I'd rather be alone and not have a relationship. If somebody, I won't self abandonment was huge for me, where
Self abandonment.
I
Yeah.
would self abandon, and that's how I end up with physical ailments, where I would do stuff for others that was not my self, and
That's hard for empathetic people who are in,
just
I would say most people in this room are either in some kind of helping profession or they're empathetic or, everybody's helpers here. And I know you are too. And you're literally a service based, like you physically help people. So for you to say that, how do you reconcile like your service heart mentality for others with also like that not abandoning yourself?
it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's extremely because I blew my disc. I'm a chiropractor adjusting a patient, and literally I said my arm doesn't work. This is the second time it happens. The first time it happened, it was like a dead cat. Like my arm just literally died. And I had this woman, and she's like, "Did you get my back?" And I'm like, "My arm is dead." Do you know what I'm saying? And she's
Yeah.
like, "Can you try it again?" Like I think when you see that, it's like I did try it again with my like other arm, but to not have any value of like I just got hurt, like profoundly hurt, where I'm going to be out of work for 6 months.
Hmm.
To not let her down on the visit, I did what she asked me to do. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think I would be like, I need to go get another doctor or something, that I can't do this. And I would put myself in situations where I had to carry numbers with adjusting too many patients, or giving more service away. Like I would work on somebody for 30 minutes and charge them for two. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah.
didn't want to upset them. I think setting your value, knowing your value that's fair, and just going with that, even if it's uncomfortable, but you'll trust me, because I just left a situation. You'll see who values you, who
Hmm.
doesn't value you, and it's okay. Like not everybody. I'm not tacos. Like everybody doesn't have to love me. Everybody doesn't have to afford me.
I was just talking about tacos yesterday. Everybody loves tacos.
Tacos, but like I don't want to. I don't want to lower my price anymore. I don't want to like. There's people that will afford me, and that's so hard because I have such a poverty complex. There are people that can afford me. There's people that can't, and for the people who can't, I'm putting out content. Like left, your team is putting out content for me left and
Yeah.
right. But I can't not reach the goals, because I almost lost all of this. I need to be able to carry this forward and to do my mission, disrupt this industry and get the word out there that women deserve more. And to do that, unfortunately, it takes money, and I need that. So I
Right.
have to
Right.
charge,
Right.
because I've given
Right.
everything, my books, everything for free for years. I can't do that. That's self-abandoning, and that's also not circle. That I've worked at this for eight years, 16 hours a day. I deserve to be paid.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always paid by people liking me or people being grateful for me, or that's great too, but I really need to continue my mission, and to do that I need to charge. And that's, but like just saying that right now, that's the final frontier for me, is because we're just launching, is charging for what I've been giving away for free, because it's my heart, and
Yeah.
that's what makes it fair. So
I love this woman. She's incredible. She has a heart of gold. I hope you guys follow her. She's over everywhere on social for the most part. Where am I at? At Dr. Brandie right there. So y'all do what you do, because I know what y'all do. Y'all slip in the DMs and you give a word of encouragement and some love to all of our guests. So please just drop her in the DMs. Let her know that you're grateful that she was here. And I wanted you guys to know that we are grateful you're here. Gerald, Rodney, Keto, everybody in the comment box, thank you for spending your morning with us. Before we jump out of here, let's end on a just fun note. Okay.
let's do it.
What is the most, I'm, I'm, I'm making this up right now because I normally have staple questions, but I want to give you something good. What is the most awkward thing about you that most people think is weird, but you would never change it about you?
just being vulnerable in the like if you look beautiful, I'm going to tell you look beautiful. If you I have ADD, so I'll just like point something out about somebody, and it's just like I love your shoes. Like I'll be really serious. I'll be like, oh my god, I love your shoes, or like
I
I
wish we did that more as people.
genuinely, if I see something that you look like, I'll have a patient who's like crying, and I'll be like, "Oh my God, your eyes are beautiful, so beautiful," because they shine. Like
Mhm.
I just speak what I see if it's
Mm,
positive. If
that's a gift.
yeah, and
That's
it's
a gift.
awkward and it's like weird because people don't do that, like impulse control. But like I just call it as I see it. If somebody's really beautiful or they did something special, I'll make a big deal about citing positivity with somebody because I think we don't get enough of that. So.
I did that with a couple years ago. I was in the gym and I noticed that like all the guys would always talk to each other and none of the women would ever talk to each other. So I challenged myself for 30 days to go up to a woman who I had thought something nice about and just tell her like it felt so awkward. But I had to like walk up to her and be like, "Hi, ma'am, you look really buff today." And she's like, "Thanks." And I'm like, "You're welcome. Goodbye."
Yeah, but like we need people to build each other up. So
That's
yeah,
it. Listen, we love you guys. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. Dr. Brandie, thank you so much for your time today.
thanks, Heather.
All right.
Thank you guys.